So this is going to be a short video, and I don't know if it's going to make its way onto YouTube yet, because the other day I was on eBay and this spring popped up and it said it was for Consul Zephyr Zodiac Mk1 clutch return spring. Now that's the original that came off the car, and as you can see it's a lot smaller, but it is the same length. So what I'm going to do in this video is I'm going to bolt the gearbox onto the engine block with the clutch assembled in there, and then I'm going to see where the position of this lever is. Someone said the other day that it's probably 5/8 of an inch movement when it actually disengages the clutch. So I'm going to see if this little spring will work. I'm Steve and welcome to my channel. I just got this block and tackle out of the cupboard, and it's been in there for a long time. The last time I used this was in the mid-90s when I took the engine and the gearbox out of the car, and I have painted this when I first got it, and that was probably in the mid-80s, and over the years I've lent it to different people, and now it seems a bit tight and I don't want to trust it. So I'm going to take it apart and make sure that the ratchet mechanism works properly, because I don't want any accidents with it. And the other thing with this is that this chain is far too long, because it's meant for a factory when it's hanging from the rafters of a factory, and I don't need that. So I want it short enough so it doesn't touch the car as I'm lowering and raising the engine and what have you. So I'm going to try to shorten this chain to have a shorter loop instead of the big long loop bit of it here. Well, I've now finished taking this hoist apart and cleaning it, oiling it and checking it out, and there is a video of me doing this hoist. It's actually a two-part video, so look in the description, it's below this video. And there will be a link to part 1 and part 2 of that video. So now I'm going to start making clips for this video and carry this video on. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to lift this up, and I'm going to take the trolley off because it's bolted here to the where the bed housing bolts, because as you can see it's all bowed there. I don't like it. You might think it's no point, but I just don't like that, because when I put the gearbox on, you know, it may break it. So I'm going to put a strengthening bar along the bottom to straighten this. That's the plan. Okay. Right, just put that in there. It's not dead straight, but it's much better than it was. and I don't know if you can see this. It's taking my weight, no problem, not even bowing. So that's solved that little problem. So now I've got to put the gearbox onto the engine block. Before I do that, I've got to put the clutch in. And this is the clutch that came out of the car. And I've got another video called Back to Basics Clutch, or Clutch Back to Basics, where I talk about this red mark, and I put these two marks on so they go here somewhere. There's two marks there because someone put a comment on my YouTube video, it's some years ago, and if you want to know about the clutch. Now this tape here is to keep the oil in, because I've talked about this before. Oh, look at that, that's been on there a long time. So I put that on there to keep the oil in there, because that bush there is what they call an oil light bush, and it's porous and it needs to be soaked with oil. And that's why I put that tape on there. That's probably been on there since I made that video. I'll look it up. I will put a link in the description as well to the clutch video that's already on YouTube. So all I've got to do now is put that on. I'm lucky that I've got a scrap input shaft that's a good fit in here. So then that lines it up perfectly. So I shouldn't have too much bother getting the gearbox in there. Flywheel side, so that goes that way. Well, I've only nicked them up, but I must remember that they're not tightened down. Don't want to start using it like that. So that comes out nicely. Now you can't see it, but the thrust bearing is already on the clutch lever fork thing. So this may be a little difficult, but the angle seems about right. I need to get some bolts first. Get some bolts before I attempt that. Right, I sorted out some bolts. I only need 3 just to hold it. So the threads in here are 3/8 UNC, so I'm going to put one in there, one in there. The holes in the aluminium cover round here. So these aluminium covers are only on the later cars. The early ones had a steel dust plate here. So the holes in that take a 5/16 UNC. So now I'm going to try it. This is easier said than done, but this is about the easiest way to do it, I think. put it in gear, isn't it? So what I'm going to do now, because these splines are not lining up, it's in neutral, so I'm going to put it in a gear, and then I can turn the output shaft while I'm trying to get it in. Oh, I got it wrong. Those two go there. Oh, it's in. Go up a bit. Oh, that's nice. Very satisfying for that, going like that. Yeah, that's... The actual casting is threaded, so that's 516 UNC. So obviously these bolts are not the ones I'm going to be using. I've still got the original bolts on a card somewhere. Okay, so that's on. Bit of a struggle, but not too bad. So now the clutch is down here. I need to reposition this. The problem now is it's going to go up. Let's see what happens. Okay, like this. Oops. Right, so now I just have to fit the slave cylinder. Now, this slave cylinder, the piston is back as far as it can go. So basically, that goes in there, and that domed end locates on the conical end of the piston. It just goes through there. I'm using these two cap heads simply because it's easier to screw in with an Allen key, and I've got a ball nose Allen key, so it's much easier. Right, that's just finger tight. Yeah, that's no good. That's strange because I thought this was all the original gear that I had that I took out. And so there should be a gap there. So now I need to adjust that so it is a correct gap. Right, I've copied this from the workshop manual, and it says the gap should be 1/16 of an inch, and that is 1.6 millimeters of movement on that lever. But if you fitted a new clutch, you should adjust it to 332, which is bigger, and that is 2.4 millimeters. And then after a while, after you've been driving, after it's bedded in, you can reset it to a 1/16. So mine's already been bedded in, so I'm going to adjust it to 1/16. So you just obviously it's obvious what you do. You just undo this nut, and then and they very kindly provide a flat here, so you can put your pliers on there while you adjust it. So yeah, that's quite a lot of out of adjustment. Don't know how that happens, but anyway, that's what it is. Let's wind this right back. Right. So don't know if you can see this. Yeah, so this is a piece of 16 gauge mild steel sheet, and 16 gauge is actually 64.064, and 1/16 is 0.62.5. So I'm not going to worry about 1.5 thou. So what I'm going to do, that's loose, so I'm going to adjust it so there's no movement at all. There's a little bit there. Right, there's no movement there, and then I can just adjust this until that just goes in there. Gives me an idea then. This is the best one. Gives me an idea. That's a 16th. So now all I have to do is hold this here and adjust that back to the lock nut. It's not critical, this adjustment, really. All it means is, if you have a bigger gap, it means your pedal's going to go down a bit further before it disengages. That's all it is. Right, that's done. Yeah, that's good. So that means you push your foot on the pedal, it pushes it that way, disengages the clutch. You take your foot off the clutch pedal and the spring returns it back. So then that means there's a gap between the thrust bearing and the 3 fingers on the pressure plate of the clutch, so that then the release bearing is not turning all the time. It's released it, and that keeps it like that. So now this video has been building up to this very moment. I'm going to try the 2 springs, the old one and the new one. So it simply goes on like that. Now that goes on there. And that goes there. Now I've already tried this. Now that's how I've done it. I couldn't get a fixing on here, obviously. So I've just put tape on here, and it does seal it. It does move, so I'll do it now. I've got 90 pounds PSI here. As you can see, it's not actually disengaging the clutch. That is just the movement, the 16th movement, which I'm surprised. So if it's true that when you disengage the clutch it's 5/8 of an inch, yeah, I need to stretch this 5/8 or ½ inch, I reckon, like that, which it goes quite nicely. So now this is the new one I got off of eBay. I'll put that in like that. Goes underneath. That goes underneath there. This is where it pings off and I'll lose it forever. Right, that's on there like that, and it is stronger. Obviously it still works like that, and I need to see if it stretches another ½ an inch. Which it does, but it's very strong. That shouldn't. Oh shit! That lucky that it didn't go on the other side of the carriage. Now I'm going to make a decision here. The problem with this strip spring, because it's smaller, it's much tighter than this one. That's why they've got more spring steel, because it's a bigger diameter. See, that goes quite easy. because that's all you need to return the lever. This one, it's not too bad, but it is tighter. But the thing I don't like about this is the wire thickness is smaller than the wire thickness on here. Just going to measure it. I will do this in millimeters. I think most people understand millimeters more than inches. So the original wire is nearly 1.6 diameter, and the new one is 1.2. It doesn't seem much, but I think this won't last so long simply because it's a thinner wire. And what I would recommend doing, if you can, is on this side, because it's steel to steel, if you could take any sharp edges off of here, so that when that's on there it's not actually wearing it away, and also a dab of grease on each end as well. That will stop it wearing away, and that will make the spring last much longer. That's what I'm going to do when I actually fit it in the car. Right, so that's the end of this video. So in conclusion, I think that if you can get an original spring, it's better than this. But if you're stuck and you want to drive your car, this is the last thing you need to do. This new spring, yeah, it will work. I'm sure it will work. But because it's under more tension and the wire is thinner, I think this won't last. So I would always try to get an original one that is that diameter, or something near, whatever. So I will put, if I can find the link to where I bought this on eBay, the company, I will put that link in the description below this video. So as always, thank you for watching, and if you like my videos, please click like and subscribe, and you will get a notification every time a new video is put on my channel. And any comments, if you tried this before, you had trouble, whatever, if you can add anything to what I've said, please don't hesitate to comment. So thank you for watching, and hope to see you next time.